Hey guys, it's Eddie and today I am back with another movie review for you all. Now today's movie I'm really excited about because it is one of my favourite movies probably of all time. It's in that area. I mentioned it in my top 10 favourite horror movies video, and it is of course The Thing, otherwise known as John Carpenter's The Thing. Now it stars Kurt Russell, Keith David and Wilford Brimley to name but a few. And of course it is directed by the legendary horror director John Carpenter, as I mentioned. So basically this film, will just jump straight into the plot, follows the crew led by RJ McCready aka Kurt Russell on a expedition in the Arctic, and basically while there the crew stumble across an abandoned camp sort of base similar to theirs, and they discovered that the previous crew actually discovered something rather sinister lurking in the ice, and it left them not in a particularly favourable state. So the RJ McCready's crew decide to investigate themselves, and they come across an alien creature named none other than the Thing, which can shift and adapt its body cell structure to mimic other beings, creatures, and even humans. So then there becomes this whole element of distrust and stolen identity, I guess, when the Thing begins to morph into members of the crew. And it's an incredibly frightening plot and idea. And it is, of course, sort of taken from the original film, which was made in the 1950s, I believe. I'll just put the title and the year here because I'm not quite sure, but I do know that it was remade, and it was consequently then remade itself in 2011, I believe. But I love this version so much that I don't think I would bother with the 2011 remake. I may one day, I may suddenly decide that I want to give it a try, but for now I think this version will suffice for me because I think it's just brilliant. Now, John Carpenter, we all know that he's directed the likes of Halloween, very famous horror movie director, so he's the perfect man really to take on this harrowing story of sci-fi horror and cabin fever. So he's a master of really gruesome, groundbreaking horror. I guess with films like Halloween there was a lot more sinister elements of, you know, the slasher element with a killer on the loose, but with The Thing it's a lot more body horror in the sense that it's very graphic, and there are some special effects sequences that really, I suppose, were groundbreaking at the time that it was made in 1982. We've also got a fantastic soundtrack by Ennio Morricone. It's sinister, suspenseful, in a really perfect balance of those two elements. It's quite beautiful in its own way, but it's sort of got a pace in which it helps build that tension, which is so important in this film, I think, especially with elements of, like, as I said, being trapped in the Arctic with a monster slash alien that is disguising itself as members of your crew. So Ennio Morricone's soundtrack is thus perfect for that. But I was actually thinking that some of the keyboard scores, which are kind of just like duh, 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 it's kind of just like one note, which is obviously repeated, and it is very tension inducing. Some of the keyboard scores I thought sounded a lot more like they were made by Carpenter himself, because John Carpenter actually did the soundtracks for Halloween and Assault on Precinct 13. So it kind of reminded me of those soundtracks that he created himself. I was like, are you sure Ennio Morricone did this? Because it sounds a lot like John Carpenter just got behind his keyboard again. But no, it's a great soundtrack, and definitely helps bring out the tension. But what I think is so clever is that in the scenes where the tension is at the highest, which is the scenes where, you know, the monster will reveal itself and transform. I keep saying monster, alien. when the alien reveals itself and begins to shapeshift again, there is almost no music. It is just literally these horrific sound effects of the monster's sort of, skin tearing apart, and, the body just being ripped open, and this sort of alien wails emerging from the creature. So while there is a fantastic soundtrack, the way that the score is used and then dropped in moments of extreme tension just helps to make the film's pressure points even more shocking. So I really love that. Now, there's a tense but rather slow build up from the beginning, and we're rewarded, therefore, with rather sporadic sequences of some of the best practical effects I've probably ever seen. It's sickening, it's completely engaging, so ultimately so that you cannot tear yourself away. They are just completely seize your attention because they are just so horrifying and so graphic. And I think that's what really makes this film. The first time I watched it, I was completely captivated by what I was seeing. I couldn't believe my eyes, and it was just that kind of gross horror that induces some sort of thrill in you, and you just can't help but keep watching even though it is absolutely gruesome. And I think that is what is so clever about this film. Now, we know that this film was made in 1982. We know that the effects may not be as great as some people might think, what with the advancement of technology these days, but I still think that they hold something that is totally unbeatable. There's something about them that is just so groundbreaking and so interesting that you can't deny that they are just incredible pieces of special effects, practical effects, no CGI, no real smoke and mirrors. It's just animatronics and incredible practical effects. So I really, really love that about this film. And it's still scary. It still works. It still induces that effect in you. Probably more so, I think, than something that is CGI nowadays. It's got this amazingly authentic quality to it. And I think it's just brilliant. Now, Kurt Russell is the perfect, cool, and sort of pragmatic lead. He's our hero. He's very level-headed, and he's almost cold in a way. So we follow him amidst suspicions that he might be the alien, until that very ambiguous ending. I won't spoil anything, of course. But he carries you through this movie's chaos, is what I'm trying to say, I suppose, because he's so cool, calm, collected, and he's sort of detached from the emotional state of this whole thing. He's just a very smart, straightforward guy, and he kind of reins everyone else in to sort the situation out when it seems to be at its most dire. So he is really a very sort of leveling, mellowing hero in what is only a fright fest of chaotic panic in this film. And excuse me, I think he's of course supported by a very fantastic cast. They all have this fantastic quality about them. They are able to portray just amazing panic and, this fervent energy that would be absolutely rife in a situation as scary as this. So I think that the rest of the cast as well do incredibly well. They help make this film even more engaging. I think the combination of the fantastic effects with the fantastic energetic performances by the cast really help make this film what it is, and help place you also within that situation, because I think what this film does is that it helps to make you imagine what it would feel like if you were in that situation. That's what I keep thinking the whole time I'm watching it. Oh God, what if I was in that situation? What if I didn't know which one of my friends was actually a masquerading alien from outer space that just wanted to consume my cellular structure? It's a really terrifying concept, and I think that John Carpenter's amazing direction, coupled with the cast, coupled with thrilling special effects, just help bring that sentiment to life, and help bring that sort of scared worry to the forefront of your mind. It's really horrifying. I think this film just does so well to scare you. It really does scare you, and you're also watching the entire time this sort of sickened awe, because the special effects are just incredible and they still resonate very well to this day. And I have to say that, because they are coupled with these, of course, horrific sound effects of, aliens screeching, and it is brilliant. And I think, yeah, I love this film. I absolutely love this film. I watched it many, many times and I never really get bored of it. So I have to say that if you are a horror fan and you are looking for some, classic 80s horror, then sci-fi horror definitely, then check out this film. You will not be disappointed, I don't think. I wouldn't let the sort of aging of the special effects worry you, because I think that they will nevertheless capture your attention and your imagination. They always have done with myself. Of course, I'm not speaking for everyone, but I do think that they are just as good nowadays as anything else. They still have that very scary quality to them, and I have to say that I just absolutely love this film as a horror movie fanatic. It's one of my favourites. So please do watch it if you get the chance. I would highly recommend it, but that is my take on The Thing. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably definitely give it 5 out of 5 stars. To me, it is the perfect horror film. It's got the perfect amount of thrills, scares, fantastic acting as well. It doesn't feel cheesy in any area, and it's another fantastic film by the legendary John Carpenter. So yeah, that is all I have to say about The Thing. Remember, you can always request movies for me to review by commenting below or messaging me on my Tumblr. The link is always in the description. But that is it for now. Hope you've enjoyed this review, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!